Yo, cellists. So I want to talk about the left hand a little bit, how to structure it so we have the right kind of ergonomics happening, and also just how to build some of the right habits so that you can play anything at any time. So let's get into this. Now, there's a couple really important things. A curve, or an arch, is the strongest structure in nature. And so we want to imitate that in some of our ergonomics and some of the anatomy that we have. And in particular, I want you to think about the pinky. Now, this can be tricky because everybody's pinky is a different length. And so if your hand is just a certain shape, like your pinky might just end up being straighter. But just try to follow this in principle. Everyone's different, and I'm just trying to give you some good principles here. So once you're oriented to first position, you can find first position. Okay, there's a ringing 4 exercise you can do, just matching this D here on the A string with your open D, so you know that's in tune. Okay, now again, keep in mind, what is the shape of your hand, right? If you just think about the anatomy and what it does naturally on its own, we have a light fist here, and for my hand, if I don't put my thumb on the side, right, it's kind of across from this second finger, just naturally, right? My thumb lines up with the middle finger. And so we want to think about super C. Like I tell my kids, take your vitamin C, right? So this is your vitamin C. And again, it's arch, right? Curves, strong structures. Now, that strength here is going to be transmitted to the string, though, a little bit differently than you might think, because it's tempting to want to squeeze the string with your thumb. But what we need to be happening is this arch and all the arches in the fingers to be really strong, almost like you're a rock climber hanging. Rock climber can't hang from the thumb. Maybe if they can grab something more substantial, but imagine there's just a little hold that you have that you can just get your fingers on. And so you're hanging on to that hold for dear life, and you're not tense about it, but you're just strong. Your fingers are strong, and you're hanging. So I like that image of the rock climber hanging off of the string here. And that way, we keep a curve in the thumb, and the thumb is naturally kind of where it might be in the hand, across from the second finger, in the middle here, but it's not squeezing. Okay, so really try from get-go to have this sense of hanging. Now, if we find our in-tune D, one way to structure the hand really easily and beautifully is to actually line all of your fingers and make sure you're on the fingertips, okay? So, I don't know if I can so you can see this. It might not get in tune. It might not get in focus, excuse me. Trying to give you a sense of where, right on the tip of the finger, the string is sitting. But it really is the fingertips, and this is important. And that actually helps encourage the arch, right? If I'm on the pad of the finger here, I'm not inviting that arch to happen. So really, finding that fingertip of the pinky is the first step. Finding that in tune on a D. And just go ahead and line all of your fingers up behind that. And it doesn't matter that they're on a pitch or not, right? They don't have to be on a note. We just want this really nice structure that's natural in the hand. Now, from here, you're going to imagine like you have sticky glue on your pinky, on the tip of your pinky, and you're going to slide everything open, nice and wide. Now, the cello demands that we have a nice open and strong hand, right? So we want strength and flexibility, not tightness. And so getting this alignment happening is really, really helpful. We want to open the hand back, okay? Something else to consider is we want a buoyant elbow, okay? And so we want to be able to find this motion, and I want you to notice that my wrist is not staying in place. So I'm not moving my elbow like this. You can find the fingertips here, and then see if you can get comfortable with even just moving the whole structure a little bit, okay, like a chicken wing. Now, between those two things, we've got a nice open hand that opens back from the pinky, and this is a principle. So if you're in any position, you want to frame that position from the high finger so that your whole hand can find any of the notes in it. And that's going to help retain this nice, strong arch structure and keep the ergonomics sound. No pun intended. Now, with the elbow motion, part of what this is going to help us do is, if I'm on the A string here, I want this structure to be as close to how it is on one string as it will be to another. So in other words, we want it to be really consistent. And one of the ways to do that is if I take this and I just try and make it consistent with my fingers, now I've lost the whole structure. So we need to move that across by changing the angle of the elbow, and then again keeping this structure between the forearm and the wrist nice and plain, okay, nice and straight. And then that way I can find the fingertips on any string and I can maintain this basic structure. So you can find that fourth finger in first position and practice this on every string. Just open the hand back, again, not squeezing but hanging, and finding the arch, finding all the curves that help us have strength here. Okay, strength and flexibility go hand in hand. So we want to build that. Now, if, and it's almost not an if, your hand will get tired, no matter where you are on your cello journey. There's some sort of threshold you have, right? So when you're just starting out, it's good to do some finger tapping exercises and get as close as you can to actually hearing the pitch. So if you can even get it to ring, now you know your finger's pretty strong. Right? You can actually hear the ring, right? Even if it's just a tap and there's no ring, that's fine. We want to do this from a place of this beautiful strong structure and a couple different ways. We want to tap with this hanging sensation with all this structure in place, and then we also want to just practice lifting the other way, actually. Tapping is more important, right? This is going to give us some of the strength, and we want to build some precision, so we're tapping onto the fingertip. Right? So set yourself up, take your time with this, get the structure, and then you can do some tapping from every finger. Okay. This one, if you're tapping open to one, it's tempting to squeeze. Okay. So here again, how do you hang? Well, you can't hang off of an open string, right? But you can go nice and slow and really try to have this initiate. The motion initiates in the finger, but then you hang immediately as soon as you land. It's easier to feel that sensation of hanging if you're tapping. You can tap from any finger to the next, or in a key, right? So if I was in D major, tapping from B to C sharp, and then C sharp to D. Try to stay on the fingertip. You can do that across the strings as well, trying to keep the structure intact. So I hope that helps. Take your time, really just feel the strength and the flexibility get built in as you work with some of the basic exercises that we have. All right, enjoy.